We'll discuss one important point about your diffusion of innovation. And in diffusion of innovation, one point is that the diffusion is not the starting point for any innovation. That means innovation, after developing or introducing the innovation, adoption will start, then diffusion. It is not like that. Actually, before development of the innovation, that means from zero to innovation, there is a process, and in that process, diffusion and adoption is a part. Before that, some more activities are going on for development of innovation. That's why it is generation of innovations. How innovation generate, and then how it is diffused. And in generation of innovation, the main point is that your diffusion and innovation, this is a lowest level process. Before that, we have to develop the innovation. And so today we will discuss about how to generate innovation, and there is also a process, and that process today we will discuss. That is innovation development process. The innovation development process. This is the main process for generation of innovation, then subsequent adoption and diffusion of an innovation. And in this process, there are 6 stages. One is needs or problem, research, development, commercialization, diffusion, adoption, consequences. You see, diffusion and adoption, this is the 5th stage. Before that, there are 4 stages through which an innovation is developed and come to farmer's field. First stage of innovation development process is recognizing a problem or need. Why we introduce an innovation to our client to solve their problem, or if they have some sort of your need, to fulfill that need or to fill up the gap of need, we diffuse, try to influence the farmers or users to adopt the things, and then slowly and slowly it will diffuse in the society. And because of that, first of case, we have to develop an innovation which is need-based or which will solve some problem of the client. And therefore, we have to find out the real problem or actual need of the client. At present, you see, for vaccine of COVID-19, no researcher were done anything to develop a vaccine for COVID-19. And when the pandemic started, then those experts in this line, they immediately start the research in various research organizations. And why they are doing these things, or why they are not doing that thing earlier, if they know these things to develop a vaccine, they did not do anything because at that time there is no this type of situation. There was no virus of COVID-19. But when it is emerged, then it is found that there is no remedy. Vaccine is needed immediately. And based on their past experience of developing vaccine of such type of another virus, they quickly start the process. So it is not only a problem, it is also a need of immediate problem. So different company, country, they joined together and started the research work. And in this way, they try to develop an innovation in the form of a vaccine. And that problem or the need, it stimulates research and development activities. Different organizations, they provide grant to those researchers. Some person, they even do some other things. They book the vaccine in advance for his countries, like that, in different ways to solve this problem and fulfill that need. And for that purpose, we need to create an innovation that is a vaccine for COVID-19. Then when vaccine will develop, then it will administer and it will assume that problem will be solved. Based on recognizing the problem or need, scientists will develop innovation. They will not do, because what is the problem, it is important, and what is the need, that is also important. Then it is easy for them to understand the situation. The scientists, they also develop the innovation which is not observable for the general public, but they can imagine that after 30 years, or because of this situation, after 10 years, and at that time, to solve that problem, there will be not any solution. Better we start something for the future, and it is based on assumption. Based on scientists' assumption, they assume it based on their knowledge, based on their experience. And because of that, sometimes they get funding or sometimes they do not. Because this type of a problem is not present, why we should go. But there are so many cases when the scientist, based on his experience, assumes something and develops some technology for future, and finally that situation arises, and ultimately since he developed those solutions, at that time people administer it and cope up from that particular problem. So things are also important in case of innovation, not only the real problem or need. Based on these two, mainly the innovations are developed. Then after recognizing the need, that this is the need or this is the problem, now we have to develop before development of the technology, there are two parts. One is basic and another is applied research. And here the main point is that the technology can be developed when they get some findings of basic research. The findings of basic research, these are abstract. For general people, they may not understand these things. But based on those basic research, another group of scientists, they utilize those principles, all these things. They apply it, and finally they develop the technology. The applied research, the technology is developed, but in basic research who are doing these things, they will not develop the technology. Even some cases they don't know, but they develop some basic findings which are applied during the applied research. Even in case of COVID-19, all those basic findings conducted during other pandemic situation for development of vaccine, SARS, MARS, like that. All those basic findings are studied, and based on that, they are trying to develop the vaccine. So, in case of development of any innovation, we need the basic part, that is basic findings, basic knowledge, that is absurd. And you see, in case of Einstein, he put forward lots of theories, and only few theories are proved during his life. They developed all these things, but based on their basic findings, absurd findings, generally we develop so many technologies. Now the ICT sector, mainly the satellite, all these things, these are based on Einstein principle. But Einstein, he did not know that from these satellites will develop all these type of things will develop. And when E equal to mc square, the formula was developed, people were laughing, but now we know what is the value of that. This is the findings. Based on that, applied research are done and different type of innovations are developed. And in case of innovation, there are two parts. One is hardware, another is software. Generally, those are tangible or physical. These are hardware. In computer also hardware and software. What is software and what is hardware? In case of your agriculture, if you provide insecticide, tractor, very expensive. But if you provide some process, some knowledge, then this is software aspect. Development of an innovation is the process of putting a new idea in a form that is expected to meet the needs. In development stage, all those basic knowledge, they based on that assume some idea that if we do in this way, then we can develop a technology which will meet the needs or solve the problem of the client. So actually in development stage, those basic findings are accumulated to develop the technology, and in successful cases, they develop the technology for the client. In development, there are two terms. One is technological determination and another is sociological determination. Many people thought that the development of technology means due to development of the technology, our society is changed. That means technology is the cause for change in society. When we introduce an society, it will change the society. So the society is influenced by technology, but in true sense, it is not. In some cases, technology changes the society, but actually society is not controlled by technology. Actually, main thing is that the society, it controls the technology, and according to their need, the technology is developed, and because of that, social determinism or social construction of technology, that actually based on the need of the society, technologies are developed. It is from society. The problem, need, it is from the society. Even at present, you see, in case of COVID-19 vaccine, it is not that the technology will change what in our society, but demand is come from society to develop a vaccine. So actually based on the demand of the society, scientists are trying to develop a vaccine, and if the vaccine sends something in our society, it is not because of the technology, but because of the society. So actually society, they control the technology. Technology is a product of society and influenced by social system. You can develop some technology, but you can't introduce all those technologies in society because there is a social system, it controls all the things. Remember these two terms, social determinism or technical determinism. And another word, and here the main concept is that sometimes what happens when we will work as per routine rules routine rules and regulation, it is not possible to develop a technology. So we have to deviate from the rules and regulations. And if the organization sets the rules according to those scientists, then it is difficult for running the organization also. So they silently do these things for that particular group of people that they can work without any routine organizational procedures. They can do what they want, but they will not follow, because if they are follow these rules, then they can develop the technology. So in some cases, this type of situation arise, and then the organization, they introduce this concept. And in case of laptop, it was developed under this process of schoolworks of innovation development process. When in development of your innovation, after that it is handed to the client, and when it handed to client, then the client try to introduce the things to their users, ultimate users. And when you introduce the things in the society, again you will get some sort of social constraints. Some people or some organization act as a gatekeeper, means influence or inform the society against that innovation. They try to stop the introduction of that technology in the society. They act as a gatekeeper. As per their wish, somebody can enter into the gate and others can't. And they do the role of it when this type innovations are also introduced. And that when we try to introduce the things, we have to identify and handle the gatekeeper properly. It is obvious that in society you will face gatekeeper. So first thing is that instead of confronting with gatekeeper, we should influence them, then convince them, and finally we can introduce the innovation in the society. When it is introduced, then adoption will start at individual level, and then over time through different channels, information is passed from one person to another person in the society. And after diffusion, what will happen?
So diffusion of innovation, we cannot predict that always it will give good result, because in case of diffusion of particular innovation, it may change the society in sometimes desirable way, in sometimes undesirable way. For example, diffusion of farm mechanization resulted in large-scale withdrawal of agricultural labor. So we can't say that the diffusion always give rise to development or good result. It may be desired, it may be undesired one, and that is the consequences of diffusion. The diffusion of innovation may lead to observable or unobservable result also. All may affect in the society. So, in case of diffusion of an innovation, the consequences may be positive or it may be negative. You can't predict these consequences. The diffusion of innovation may lead to observable or unobservable result also. All may affect in the society. So, in case of diffusion of an innovation, the consequences may be positive or it may be negative. We can't predict these consequences.
These are the main stages for innovation development process. There are 6 stages, and these 6 stages are very important for generation of innovation. Before diffusion of a technology in the society, the innovation is passed through 6 stages, and technology is mainly developed based on need or problem of the society as per demand of the society.